Hello, I'm Paul Larson. Born in New York State and living in Vermont, author Mark Gonyea has spent much of his life watching TV, playing video games, and going to movies. He says all that media consumption has helped him think in a visual way. And in this author visit, he'd like to help us all think a little bit more about how we see, draw, and design. You've created some books about visual design, and they look like they're for young people, but actually anybody might enjoy them, right?
Absolutely. I didn't actually start off creating kids' books. I started off creating design books that I thought anyone would be able to understand if you were coming from a background of no experience. And the reaction I got from publishers was, "That's a really good kids' book that you wrote." And I was like, okay, great.
Why did you want to write about visual design?
That's everything I'm about. Even when I was a kid, I was really interested in graphic design. I didn't know the terminology to it, but I knew that I liked designing different things.
You've written a book about design, Complicated Doesn't Make It Good. That's the title. Who might benefit by reading this?
I think anyone that's interested in graphic design, the intent was that even if you didn't know anything about it, you could pick up this book and by the end of it kind of have a little bit of an insight into what it is to think like a graphic designer. What are the questions that they ask themselves as they're designing? Even if it's subconsciously, every designer asks themselves certain things. Why is it blue? Why is it round? Why did I put it there? And it's a process, and it's my insight into the designer's process.
But you don't necessarily need to be thinking about a career in graphic design or in art to appreciate these books. I was thinking even classroom teachers might like these books to make posters for their kids, and I can imagine there are a lot of other applications.
A couple of the chapters are actually old school assignments that I was given, not verbatim, but there is that aspect of taking a design and learning from it, and doing something creative. I mean, a design is extremely creative.
In what areas of our lives do most people use design?
Every area. It's, my favorite example is, my favorite movie is Star Wars. And that is a brilliantly designed movie. I didn't appreciate it for that when I was a kid, but now you go back and look at it and it's just so graphic and so bold in its shapes. It's the Death Star is this huge round figure in space, and the Star Destroyers are giant triangles, and a lot of the ships are round or square combinations.
So shapes and colors were real important in that movie.
Shapes and colors, that's the first line in the book is design is all about size, shape, and color. And that's really how I think about it. It's really that basic a concept.
Why don't you take us through that first chapter?
The chapter starts out when you have the two shapes, and they have equal impact on the page because they're the same size. One's a little taller, so maybe the red shape is a little more impactful, but they're basically the same. But if you take that green circle and you make it much larger, that is drawing the eye to that shape. And in effect, you're lessening the impact at the same time of the red circle.
So you change one element, such as the green circle, and it changes everything.
It's an all or nothing proposition. It's anything on the page that changes affects things that you didn't actually change on the page. So you take that. And then if you wanted to draw attention back to the red shape, in this case we dropped out another little circle, which is because this shape is slightly more complex, you're drawing attention back to that shape away from the green circle. And in this case, they've pretty much gone back to about the same amount of impact. And again, dropping out another little circle, pulling the eye again back down to the green. And the idea is to explain design in these really simple terms so that when someone takes this concept, they can use it on any sort of complex design. And then making a star out of the circle really makes it a more complex shape and draws the eye back to the top of the page.
So what are the other concepts covered in the book?
Well, the book starts with size, shape, and color. and I break those out into its basic concepts. So size is size. That's pretty straightforward. Shape, circles, squares, and what those mean. Circles are more fluid. Squares are more rigid. So they have that kind of feeling of strength.
What do you really hope we can learn from this book?
What I would like kids to take from it is that art is a process. It's never perfect the first time you put it down on the page. It's a series of decisions, and hopefully each decision gets you closer to the result that you would like.
You've also written a book about color. What was your motivation for this?
Color is such an expansive topic. Even with the book, I could probably have done another book about color. It's just that much of an idea.
Our culture has assigned different meanings to colors, and you really simplify it in your book. You say that red is loving, red is dangerous, orange is cheerful, orange is powerful. So it's really letting kids know the significance of colors when they use them.
Absolutely.
You also talk about what colors complement other colors, what colors look nice together.
Yeah, and things, I got a little more technical in that one. Things like complementary colors, primary colors, secondary colors. It's a huge topic, and it was the most challenging book in how to simplify that down without getting bogged down in the terminology.
And you're also a very funny guy.
Thanks.
I was looking through this book called If You Have to Ask,
Yes.
Simple Answers to Life's Burning Questions. And one of the questions is, it looks like the wife or the girlfriend is asking the guy on the couch, are you just going to sit there in your underwear all day? And the answer to the question is yes.
The answer
Go ahead and read it.
to the question is yes. It's like, technically, I'll be lying on the couch all day in my underwear, but it's an easy mistake to make. Tell you what, I'll forgive you if you bring a pillow and a slice of cake.
So, nice comeback to that age-old question. Now, how about the classic, when the woman asks you, does this make me look fat?
Yes. The answer is no. And period, end of story. Stop talking, shut up, that's it, game over, good night, folks. Now, you might be tempted to try a, what are you, crazy? Don't try that, because that'll just open up to, oh, so now I'm fat and crazy? But the answer is no.
Now, have you in your own life had to answer a lot of these questions?
Absolutely, and I'm not sure why I have that type of face that people seem to open up to. So I get asked a lot of questions that I don't necessarily want to answer.
So some of the humor in this is for adults.
Yes, absolutely. In the If You Have to Ask book, I would say it's definitely for a high school and later audience.
What's enjoyable about being a published author?
Probably just being able to work at home, being able to put your feet up and work on the computer. It's great to know that people are enjoying your work, they're learning from your work. I get emails all the time from people that have bought the design book or the humor book, and that it's something that they've cut pages out and put on their wall, and they actually use it as artwork and see every day. And that's really satisfying, because if somebody wants to see something every day, that says something.
Author Visits is a production of Mountain Lake PBS. More information about the authors and their books can be found on the Author Visits section of our webpage at mountainlake.org.